Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Free Daily Coaching. This morning, we're doing a series of free daily coaching webinars, and we're doing this series on goal setting specifically. So today is day 2 of the goal setting webinar series. So if you haven't watched day 1, I recommend after watching this video, if you're here live, go back and watch day 1. If you're watching this in a recorded format, simply go back, watch the first of the series so that you can do this in chronological order. It will be a lot easier for you to stay in kind of in sync and in track with us if you do that. So you can see behind me on the whiteboard a drawing from yesterday that we did. And that drawing's literally just from a mind map that we did, and for an example of a cluttered mind. And so what I wanted to do today was give a direct example now. So yesterday I gave a couple different examples of different goals that you could possibly have and the format in which you would want to use on a daily basis, if you will, right? The actual process in which you would identify your goal, and then the action steps in which you would accomplish that goal. And so today, and what I said we would do throughout the week, and so I want to follow through on that. Today, what we're going to do is I'm going to show a specific example, one specific example that we did yesterday in our business and in our life. And then I'm going to show another example, and I'll show you just a couple parts of it. And as we talked about, we broke this process down on a daily basis, right? And so, and we also used Dale came over and was gracious enough to offer herself as an example, and she gave her goal and told us what she was doing. So let's take a look at that. And Dale, I'm going to bring you over. Let's see if you got your mic fixed. So I'm going to go ahead and push the button now and bring you over. We'll see if we can get Dale over here. So we're going to use the whiteboard again. A couple days in a row now that we've been using the whiteboard for an example. And we're going to erase this mind map, the clutter brain picture that we had from yesterday. And we're going to go ahead and looks like it's time to use like that spray stuff on the whiteboard is getting really yucky. It's not very white anymore. Okay, so let's talk this morning a little bit about one of the goals that we did, and we'll show you as an example. So let me get the pen out here and make sure that we can write with it. Okay, so yesterday we had a goal, and as many of you know, we have multiple businesses here in our home. We've got a couple different things going, one of which is my specific online business and coaching and consulting business. Then we have so we have an online and offline for business consulting program that many of you guys are familiar with. It's tied to Free Daily Coaching. It's the Friends of Free Daily Coaching that we do on a weekly basis. And so we have consulting packages for that, which we have a monthly service. We have a 3, a 6, and an annual package that people can purchase. And then in addition to that, we have introduced here to Free Daily Coaching that we have some ranch immersion experiences where you can actually come here to the ranch, spend 3 days. We do massive amounts of marketing and it's tailored to the individual. So depending on where you're at in your business and what you need to accomplish is what we're going to do. So we have that as a business, right? So we have the coaching and consulting. We have just our affiliate marketing business where we just all the different affiliate programs that we are affiliates of, things like My Lead System Pro, Aweber, Webinars on Air, the platform that you're using this morning, right? So that's another business. And then one of our other businesses is that the ranch itself, right? So we're turning the ranch experience itself, not the consulting part, right, where you come in and have that experience with me, but the ranch itself is becoming a business, and my wife is turning that from a hobby into a business. So as we transition for that, there's things that have to happen. There's things that are required to occur as part of that, right? And so, and not just in the marketing and in but in the actual operations, in the day-to-day operations, and in the setup of the business. So for the first example that I'm going to use today, I'm going to use that business and the setup. So you can see that even in a business that isn't even totally built yet, that we're still putting the all the framework together for the business, that you could still use these same principles and these same concepts that we've been talking about. So we're really talking about this morning is goal setting, but what we're really doing by applying this method of goal setting, you can hear my wife is exercising. Ziggy's getting excited. Maybe one of the cats walked by. What we're really doing with this form of goal setting is really creating our own personal growth and really fostering our own personal development. And we're doing that literally by I'm trying to think of the right words. We're injecting our own catalyst, if you will, right? With this formula that's now sparking the personal growth. Why? Well, because up to this point, if you haven't been using a formula, and I hadn't up till recently, even up until a couple of years ago, I was literally just kind of flailing through life with no real purpose, with no real direction. I was kind of doing things, and I had some passions and some ideas and some hobbies, but I hadn't really actualized that, right? So we're now using this formula to develop ourselves as people, as business owners, as leaders, as parents, as friends, as siblings, right? We're developing ourselves as a better person. We're creating that personal development and that personal growth by doing simple things like goal setting. And the double bonus, if you will, and many of you know from past webinars with me, I'm all about double dipping and triple dipping, right? The double dip on this is that in addition to creating this personal growth and creating this catalyst to allow you to continue to grow, in addition to that, you're actually getting things accomplished and things that you wanted to do, right? These are things that you have clearly set and defined. Dale, can you talk? We'll see if you have sound. You can talk. She's like, I can talk, I can sing, I can dance, I can play. I'm Dale, but we can't hear you. So let's, you know what, Dale, maybe what we do is on a hangout, one of the hangouts, we'll have you stay afterwards and we can mess around with some configurations. Anyone else that has had some problems in the past with sound issues, if you have a resolution, you could post that over in the chat or over in Free Daily Coaching for different suggestions for Dale, so that she could, maybe have a couple ideas on troubleshooting. And then Dale, from yesterday till today, since we can at least see you, from yesterday till today, did you at least restart your computer? Have you done that? Yeah? Yeah, okay. So it's probably just an audio setting, something to do with the microphone. So we'll get it adjusted and we'll get that figured out so that we can bring you over and get you some sound. Do you have an external microphone, or are you just using the one that's built into the computer? The one that's built into the computer? Okay. All right. So let's, so now everyone knows kind of what she's working with. She's using the built-in one. So, and then your PC, right? Not Mac, your PC. Yeah. And it's Microsoft based. So that way, if anyone has some suggestions, we could then, we could help Dale out, and get it so that we can plug into with her. It's probably just literally, it's probably something to do with the access, and for whatever reason, it's not giving this application access to the microphone, or it's not enabling it. So if we could just figure out how to get into those settings, and maybe what we could do, Dale, is just a phone call and a join me, like where we could do something like this, a screen share, so we can see, but we could still talk to you, and then that way there is some communication. So we'll get it figured out, right? And that's what we do here at Free Daily Coaching. We make sure that everyone's taken care of, that everyone has solutions. Whatever we have to do, if we have to jump on a phone, and this is how you really make solutions happen, guys and gals, right? while we're talking about goals, think about this. Did you have a goal to get something done and then it was broken and you never accomplished the goal because, just be honest with yourself, simply because you didn't want to ask for help, or you felt stupid, or you felt dumb, or you felt like you're a nuisance, or whatever the mental trip is that you put on yourself, you didn't accomplish the goal because you never like fixed the problem, right? Like the outlet that burned out in your house. Like you didn't want to call and get the electrician, or you didn't want to call and say, I don't know about electricity. How can I get this rewired? Or the hole in the drywall, or whatever the thing is. In this case, we're talking about a simple solution, probably for a microphone problem. Think about how many people have had an issue with the microphone. They couldn't get it to work. And then they were just like, well, I guess I can't do video marketing, right? Think about how many people that's happened with. So what we want to do, and what I would like to impart to everyone that's here, is what if you become the solution? What if you could just reach out to people and say, you know what, I could take 5 minutes, I could take 10 minutes and help this individual and show them the solution, right? And so that was the basis of the free daily coaching and how we built this business, literally. So just as a side note. So let's take a look at the first goal that we created. So yesterday we had set and determined one of our ranch goals was that we needed to have animals. I don't know if you guys can, yeah, I'm going to use the different tip of this pen so that it writes a little bit better. So we wanted animals. Oh, that's better. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this. So this was the clear, and Dale, we'll come back to you in a minute, even though I know you can only do visual. We will come back to you because I have a couple questions for you. So animals contained within an electric fence. So that was one of the goals that we had determined for the ranch project. And usually we do ranch projects on Tuesday. However, yesterday it was required to flip the days, to flip the schedule, because some of the goals that we were trying to attain were because of specific issues that we're having, and they needed to be resolved immediately. These weren't, some things in life, as you all know, need to occur now, right? Some things can be deferred till later, and some things have to happen now. Right? When you're having like massive abdominal pain, and all of a sudden you have like a distension in your body, you know that it's like time to go to the hospital, right? Because like your appendix is like bursting. You don't go, oh, well, I could do that next week. It has to happen now, or the severe consequences could happen. Same thing. In this example, we have livestock, and we have babies and other types of livestock, and we also have a large dog. And in this case, the large dog that we got, he's a great dog. He's, great for like our purposes, but he's not so great with the livestock that we have, only because we have small livestock. We don't have full size, like full bred cows. We have like mini goats, right? So our goats are just barely, taller than the dog. The dog outweighs the goats by a significant amount. So it's more predatory, right? So we had to contain all of the animals with an electric fence. So that was the ultimate goal. So then we talked about creating this list of required actions, right? Of things that had to happen. So one of the areas where the animals were, everything was already wired. The electric wire or poly wire with like that material with the wires in it was already up. The actual electric charger to the fence was up. Everything was wired. It just needed a new grounding rod. Okay, so install ground rod number 1. That needed to occur. Okay, that was it for that specific area. Okay, then we really, what that was just one of the animal containment areas. We also have the dog, the dog, and we like to bring him up onto the patio, right out onto the patio porch, the balcony. Right now it's still wood. It's not totally finished off with like the composite and all that kind of stuff. So I can still like build on it, right? So up here on the deck, where the deck is situated, he can see and hear sometimes the animals, and if they're out running around, he wants to jump over the deck and run out there. So we figure, okay, well, we can just put a poly wire up around the deck. So what else needs to happen? I need to install the insulators. And those are like the little pieces that come off of the wood or the pole or whatever that actually hold the electric wire. So, and in this case, there was probably like, I don't know, 15 or so of those to install, right? And then you have to run the poly wire. Okay. I have to install ground rod 2. Okay, I have to wire the ground to the Energizer, which is the power supply. I have to connect line to Energizer. Okay, and then now I have to okay. So I have my list of required actions to complete the project. I had to install ground rod 1 for the already existing unit. Once I did that, I could just reconnect literally just once I put a new ground rod in, just connect the wire to it, the ground wire, and it was done. It was completed. Okay, so that was done. Boom, got that done. First thing, install. Okay, so then that was done. Everything on the outside fence with the livestock was created. Then I had to do the new area, the patio area. So I had to install the insulators, 15 of them. Boom. Okay, so I installed all the insulators. I grabbed the poly wire and I ran it along. So I ran it through all of the insulators. I wonder if I could do I probably can. Hold on, and I will. I'll show you guys. So install all the insulators, run the poly wire, install the ground rod number 2. Okay, so another ground rod had to be put in for this new area because it's too far away from the other place to be able to run a line that far, a wire that far. So I had to install the other ground rod, which means basically like driving a copper rod down into the ground, into the earth, right? And you had to drive it pretty far down in there to be able to get a really good ground. Then you have to wire the ground up to the Energizer, and in this case, the Energizer is going to be up on the deck. So the ground rod's way underneath the deck. So then I had to run the line up and then through the bottom of the decking, right, up to the Energizer. Then I had to connect the line, the live line, the actual poly wire that I ran to the Energizer. Okay, and then this is the last thing I have left to do is now I have to buy another Energizer because I need a plug-in Energizer for out by the goats, where the goats and the pigs and everything are, and then I need one for up here. So I just have one thing left. So I redid the patio, and I'll show you guys in a sec here. I'm just gonna register as a different Bert 2. Bert on the go. Bert Mobile, we'll put. So that was all I had to do. And then I literally just took the Energizer from out by the goats, switched it over here to test this and make sure everything was working. And that was it. So now you can see that, and that was it. So all I have to do is buy another Energizer, right? Which I haven't decided if we're going to go to town later and do that probably, or if we're just going to order it on Amazon and have him send it to us. Either way, we just got, and the entire project is completed now, right? So we have an idea in our head. We need to have, the animals have to be contained with the electric fence. It has to get completed. And in this case, okay, so this was a list of required actions. That was all done. And then I'm going to just put over here, I'm going to put the and call that bonus actions. You could call it add-ons, extras, you could call it. If there is time, right? If there is time, you have bonus actions, extras, and add-ons. For me, I got all this done in a pretty reasonable amount of time yesterday because I've done it before and I knew what I was doing. So I kind of had an idea of what, you know, exactly what I needed to do. And just like I've shown you guys in online marketing, I do a lot of batch work. So literally, I just went in and I applied all the insulators, all as one thing. Why? Well, because then they were all done. I could have the screws, all the insulators, just do it all as one thing. Then I could go back and just run the polywire, right? So the batching worked really easy. So in this case, the bonus action was install additional insulators and install additional wire. So on the animals out in the goat area, I wanted to put up, I have a line across the top of their fence line and then one that runs along the bottom of their fence line. I wanted one that was, so it's polywire. So imagine it's like tape, right? And there's one that runs across the bottom and one runs across the top. I wanted just a thin wire, just a wire that was running right above this bottom one, because sometimes they kind of could go over it. And this just added an extra level of protection. And so because I had the time before I came over and did this area, I did that. I was able to install the additional insulators and additional wire, right? So let me go and let me log in over here and let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can log in over here and I'll show you what I did. So that's it. We wanted to get this completed. And so because we did, let me find me. Because we found me. Oh, I could hear you, Dale.
Oh.
Whatever you did, we can hear you now.
That is wonderful. I got a headset on.
Okay, perfect. All right, so hold on just a second. We'll show something and then we'll jump over to you and we'll finish off the webinar. So I wanted to show an example. And this was an example of something that we were able to, let me turn that off so there's no echo. This was an example. So yesterday when we showed the examples of goal setting and how you could do this to build personal growth, to build your business, we showed a couple different examples. One was our online business, right? That was one. And then the other was something unrelated so that we could show that you could do this with a brick and mortar. So what I showed in my two different examples, one in the business example, I'm showing a bigger project that we're working on over a week. In this instance, I showed the same thing. I did the exact same thing with a smaller project that I was most likely going to be able to complete in a day, right? The only thing that I was unable to totally complete in this project was the very end part of having the second Energizer, just because I didn't physically have the Energizer here. I didn't own a second one, right? I did at one point and it was bad, so I need to get a new one. So this was a showing that this model actually works, and it doesn't have to always be something that's farther out. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, and I'm going to show you one more example. And this is an example, and I'm not going to do the whole thing out today. I'm saving that so you guys can see the whole entire thing and the whole entire build out. I'm just going to give you an example. The other example that I was using was I'm building out the free daily coaching. So as you guys all know right now, there is a freedailycoaching.com website, but we're rebuilding it so that there's a new, the friends of FDC membership and affiliate areas are totally set up, right? That's the goal. That was when we clearly had a clearly defined goal, that was the goal that we set up for ourselves for this week. Then we have a list of required actions, the LoRa, right? And we write out that, and then we just started taking those steps. Boom, 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 boom. And I got 2 or 3 of the steps required yesterday that I wanted to get accomplished, and I'll get a few more accomplished today. And then I have a helper, right? I have a helper. My son is actually helping me on this project, and he's gonna tomorrow. He'll be doing some more of the transfer work over and some of the back end, like keeping track of it for me. So I'll show you guys the total build out of this, the entire list of required actions that I did, right? So you guys can see the full and complete list, and then a breakdown of each day and what we've done. But I'm not going to show you guys just yet, right? Because we're building up to that. I want to show you guys over the next 2 days while we're doing that how. And we discussed this yesterday, how you could actually have multiple different goals. And if you have multiple goals and you have a list of required actions for those goals, you can actually have this, you could actually get all of this stuff accomplished. Everything that you would like to have accomplished, you could get accomplished if, like we talked about yesterday, with all of those little dots that we started the morning with, if you got rid of all those dots and you turned that into a list of required actions, you'd actually have a clear defined goal. And then you'd have a map, a plan to get there. So we showed 2 different examples. Yesterday we worked on 2 different ones. Before we talk to Dale really quick, which we're going to, let me go ahead and mute. All right, can you still hear me? All right, looks like you can. Muted over there. So I'm going to take you over here really quick, and I'm going to show you that I actually did this, so you guys aren't like, oh, well, he said he did a bunch of stuff, but we don't really know. So let me turn around here. I don't know how good you can see. So I'm not sure how good you can see it, but you could probably see it. And you can see that. Stay there, Ziggy. You can see. Oh, so I'm not sure if you guys can. Yeah, you can see that right here. I installed this poly wire. So that poly wire goes all the way around the deck, all the way down. And you can see I put in these insulator pieces. So these are the insulators. This is the, that's the actual poly wire, right? Just want to make sure it was still working. You can see that I got the actual charger plugged in down there. So I actually did the actual project. So I wasn't just telling you guys, like I'm just making up a list of things to do that would be part of that project and then not actually doing it. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to get you all turned around there. So you can see that this is a real process, that I'm really doing this, and I'm showing you in real time how to do this. So let me mute up again over here and grab you on the desktop. Okay, so you could see that from my example that I just actually went out and showed you, hey, this was real. We really actually took the actions. We really did what it was that we said, and we created the list of required actions. Now, I'm going to, before we asked, I wanted to talk to Dale and check in with Dale and see how she's doing on her goals, because she's doing the exact same thing that we showed yesterday. So again, if you're just visiting freedailycoaching.com right now and watching this on a replay, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's over on another website, please, I implore you, go back to day 1 and find out exactly what we're doing. Look at this formula that we've set up for you so that you can start to clearly identify your goals and then set yourself up with a plan of action to go and achieve these goals. So Dale had a goal, and Dale actually had a goal yesterday of getting 50 quality leads, okay? Meaning that she's going to get leads that she actually generated, okay? Quality leads that aren't just some random person that just opts in, but 50 quality leads that she's actually generated. And she wants to do that in the next 7 days, okay? So So we got 50 leads divided by 7 days, and that equals 125. So something like that, right? Something like 7.125. I don't know. That's in my head, so I'm not that fast with math. So, so we rounded it to say that Dale needs to approximately get 7 leads per day to hit her goal. So Dale, are you with us?
I'm with you. Hi.
Good morning. So is this right? This is what because yesterday you didn't have any sound, so we want to make sure that we were tracking that everything was correct, right?
That's it. Right.
All right. And so we talked about identifying the goal, and then yesterday we talked about being able to write down a list of required actions. What are the actions that will actually get you to be able to start to generate leads? Right. And were you able to do that? Were you able to write down some specific actions that you could take?
I did. I went back and I did your goal setting from before.
Okay.
So I remember what we did, and I've got the actions written down, and I've got them already started. I needed people, so I joined some groups in LinkedIn and Facebook, although it's being swamped right now. So I think I'll stick to LinkedIn. And I'm looking for entrepreneurs and home business people. So I was way off the track with what I tried to do before, I know. They weren't buyers, and they weren't even interested in products. So I'm going to talk to the right people. I'm going to focus on the 5x5. And then I'm not going to spam anybody. And I will do a video, and then I will send that to the groups and say, this is what I'm doing. Are you doing this kind of thing too? Why don't you follow along if you'd like to?
Awesome. So yes, so good job. So you got a list of required actions. You identified the goal, then you wrote down, okay, now we know, okay, I joined some LinkedIn groups, right? LinkedIn groups. We got some Facebook groups. Okay. We're going to create a video. Okay. We're going to post the video. To the groups. And it has the most important thing in there is that we have the call to action, right? To be able to get the leads. And then also what she talked about was the 5x5. So going in and doing the 5x5, because if for those that are wondering, and I want you guys, and I want to make this announcement too, I'm going to adjust, because when I originally wanted to change our Friends of Free Daily Coaching, I wanted to do it because there's so many people that there's a conflict in dates, but then there's another training that with Diane with Twist Your List that's happening on Thursday. So we were going to switch ours so that it's not in conflict with Diane. And I want everyone to know this and realize this and see this. This is so important. I learned the 5x5 method from Diane Hockman. She doesn't call it the 5x5 method, and she does it differently than I do it. Okay. But it's essentially the same exact strategy. Essentially. So let me not say exact. It's essentially the same strategy. However, there's some differences where Diane uses the public wallboard of people's thing. I use private messaging, right? So to Diane, she thinks that's, and if you go into her training, Diane and I always have this conversation where Diane thinks the private message is like walking up to someone and talking like, hey, what's up? Right? Where I don't think that way. I think that's just normal talking. And I feel, okay, so she feels like the regular post on the wall is normal and the private message is extra personal, where I feel like the message is normal and going out onto someone's wall is like standing in their driveway and yelling at them like, hey, bro, you want to go to the movies? That's just my opinion and her opinion. So we just take it from a different angle, but we're doing the same strategy. We're with that one perspective difference. That's it. We just have a perspective difference from that angle. How we're approaching moving forward from there is still the same. We're just using a different method of communicating with the people. Diane's doing it over on the main wall of the people. I'm directly messaging the people. It's just a difference of it. This is why It wasn't because I was trying to do something different than Diane. One of the other lessons that I had learned from Diane was if you would just do what you already know how to do. And so I was already messaging and talking to people this way. So I was like, wow, this is super easy. I'm having great engagement talking to people this way. So that's where I took the ideas that she had taught me, but from what I was doing, and that's where we created 555.
Okay.
Okay. So, and the reason I'm telling you guys all this, and especially you, Dale, is if you're going to use this, is because a lot of you guys and gals follow both me and Diane, right? You're training with both of us, and that's good because I want you to realize that almost everything that I've learned in regards to the interpersonal communication via social media has been learned directly from Diane. All I did was what was more comfortable to me that got results.
Right.
Okay, that was key. Just because something isn't comfortable to you doesn't mean you could just skip over it, unless you're getting a better result doing it your way, right? And so I was getting a result my way, so I was like, listen, I don't need to switch to talking to people on their wall when I'm getting the same response, right? So I just kept doing what I was doing. I just used what she was doing, like that, those techniques and I just incorporated it into what I was already doing. So I just took what she was doing, I put it in as best I could to what I was doing, and it kept working. So what you guys can do is take what I'm teaching you or what Diane's teaching you if you're doing this same type of strategy in groups and things like that, right? Because I teach you the groups idea in 555. I'm just doing it a little different. That's it. It's just a tiny different. Try both ways. Try all of these different ways and find what works for you, because what works for you is going to be different than what works for me. Just like how you talk is going to be different than how I talk, right? Because we come from different generations, right? And we live in different places, right? Like I live in the Sierra Nevadas, like on the Nevada-California border on the west coast of the United States, right? You don't. And right. And I'm a 40-year-old guy. Dale's not a 40-year-old guy. She doesn't live on the West Coast. She doesn't live in the United States, right? There's all these things that are totally different. So talk like a Canadian, talk like a woman that's in your, right? Like in your age demographic, like be genuinely you, and then just use these skill sets into you, bring them into the fold. And how would you do this, right? Like, so that's all I thought of was, I was like, okay, well, this is how Diane's doing it. How would I say that? It's the same thing that I learned from prospecting with Bill Pesco-Solido. Why did I learn from Bill Pesco-Solido? Everyone goes, well, Bill's so much different than you, Bert. Your personality is how you talk to people. Yeah, but guess what? Bill is a master at prospecting. So what I did was I went and I learned, what is it that Bill is saying, right? And then I just forced myself to say what he said, even though it was totally uncomfortable, to see what the result is that I would get. When I got a good result, or a more favorable result than I was getting previous, I knew that that was a good strategy. Then I said that enough, the uncomfortable thing enough, until it became more comfortable. When it became more comfortable at that point, okay, this is what I've been able to identify. When it became more comfortable, not comfortable, not like, oh, this feels good. When it became more comfortable than the original process of just being totally uncomfortable, when it just became a little bit more comfortable, that was the point in which I was able to say, okay, now I can start. Now it's not like, it's not totally awkward. I'm not like totally stumbling over it. Now that I can kind of say it and I'm feeling like less awkward, now I can figure out how to say this in my way. How can I say, let me give you an example. Dale may say, I was about to say Chris because I looked over really quick and
yeah.
you got glasses, right? And your hair. Let's say Dale wants to say a sentence, and she wants to say, I'm trying to think of a good sentence, and I'm trying to give you an idea of how you could change it. So let me say what I would say first, and then we'll change it to say what Dale would say. So Dale, could you say the exact same sentence as I'm about to say, but in your own words? Could you say, yo, dudes, there's a major party about to go down and you're invited. So get your shit together and get to this webinar. Now that's something that I might say, right, in my email. But could you say the same exact thing and convey the same importance, but using the words that you would use? So could you?
Yes, I could.
So instead of saying, hey, dudes, you would say, hey, something else, right?
Hey there. Yeah.
What's that? What'd you say?
Hey there? No.
Yeah, you could say, hey there. You could say, hey, guys and gals. Hey, buddies. Hey, hey, all you buckaroos and buckarettes, right? You could use, so you could say howdy. You could say, right? So there's all these different fill-ins than dudes that you could say, that you would normally say to people, like, hey, buddy, right? Like I might say, hey, buddy, but you might not say, hey, buddy. So you wouldn't say that. You'd say, hey, friend, because maybe you would say friend, right?
Okay.
And then you would say the exact same thing. Like I would say there is, right? I would be like, dudes, there's a major party happening, right? You might say there's an absolutely incredible festive event, right? So you could say festive event instead of saying party, because maybe that's what you would say. And I'm just, guys, I didn't plan this sentence out in my head, so I'm not giving may not be the best example, but I want you to see that you could say exactly what someone else is saying in your own words, right? Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So if you put that in your, say, I would never put that in my email, but you would. So you could put that, question mark, like, right? Like, I'm guessing that's spelled EEH or EH or something like that, right? And then it's like, it's almost like it's like a, what's it called when you ask what's it called, babe, when you ask the question, but you're not really looking for a response? Yeah, it's like a rhetorical question when you say it, right? It's like, da-da-da-da-da, Like you're saying like, right? Like as a statement, but also like, do you agree? Like, like you're saying it, but it's almost like I don't even know what that's called, where it's like a half statement. Like you're saying it, but you're kind of asking too to see how they respond. So that's totally something that you would say, that you could say in that example. Like, attention Canucks, we're having a, Manitoba winter blowout, right? This is what it's all about, right? That's something like that you could put and make, like, right? Like, or that's something I could say for a Canadian thing and have fun with it. I could make fun with it and put, the Canadians are going crazy. Find out what it's all about. And then put and then a picture of a boot, right? And make fun of it. So you wouldn't say that because you're from Canada. Like you wouldn't make, right? But you would use the A. So find these ways that you could say exactly what everyone else is saying. You could literally like take the words out of other people's mouths and just turn them into your own words and then just re-deliver them. That's all I did with the 5-5-5 method.
Okay.
Right? And the fun part of is this: people literally will message Diane and go, hey, have you heard about this 5-5-5 method? And she's like, yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I taught that, like, originally, right? So here's the question, Dale. Right here in this box is a number. What's the number that you got yesterday that we put into this box? 0 through 100. Okay, 0.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0. Okay.
Right.
So that's what we have to get to today.
Okay.
That's okay. Now check this out. This is real. if you don't get to this number today, Dale,
yeah,
then tomorrow's number isn't going to be 7.
Ooh.
Right? It's going to be 7 plus whatever you don't get here. So this is why the consistent action on a regular basis is so imperative. Because what happens is 7 is not a big number when you look at it by itself, just 7. But if you take 7, let's erase all this. And if yesterday was 0, and let's say today is, I want to say today is Friday. It's Tuesday. I don't know why I thought Friday. I'll tell you in a minute why I thought Friday. But if you take 7 from yesterday and then 7 from today and 7 from tomorrow, then all of a sudden you have 3 times 7s, right? And now all of a sudden you're at 21. Now all of a sudden you have 21 leads to get in one day to be able to get caught back up. So get your 14 today and maybe get more. If you get more, then that's less that you have to get the next day, right? So you get your 14 today so that you don't get overwhelmed. Because what happens in 2 more? Okay, so let's say you just get 10 today. So you have 4 left over plus your, so, right? For tomorrow. So tomorrow you got to get 11. But let's say tomorrow all you get is 7. So now you're still 4 down. And that keeps on growing. And then the next you're 6 down, and then 8 down, and then 10, and then 12. And then by the end of it, you're 20 down. Now you're 50 leads. All you did was 30. You almost cut yourself in half.
Yeah. Okay, so I don't go to bed until I got 50.
Right, that's it. Right, this is it. Here's the deal, guys. And I'm going to share with you why I thought it was Friday. And I'm going to share the exact opposite. I'm going to tell you what I'm about to do is the exact opposite what I'm going to share for Dale to do. And the reason is because I did what Dale's done. That's why I'm able to do what I'm going to do. So it feels like Friday because I got up early and got some stuff done. And I was talking to my wife and I said, babe, what would you like to do today? We got all of our ranch projects done that we needed to get done that were imminent yesterday. I got a bunch of the work that I was required to accomplish yesterday done. And I got up early and got a bunch of work done today. What is it that you would like to do? And so she said, I don't know, what would you like to do? And we threw out a couple of ideas. And there's a local place that's, it's like a private resort, like maybe 25 miles away or something, 30 miles away. It's like this private resort, but on a couple days a week, it's open to the local community if you go in. So it's this private hot springs and massage place and all that, right? And so normally, since my wife is a massage therapist, we wouldn't, like, normally we don't pay for that. But this place has the hot springs, and it's not open to the public. But if you get a massage on these open to the public days, then you can have the hot springs, the whole, you basically have access to the place for the whole day. So I was like, well, hey, maybe this would be like a fun little precursor for, like, right, it's almost Valentine's Day. This would be kind of a fun thing to do. Let's go have a spa day. So that's what we were talking about before the call. That's why I felt like it was a Friday, right? Because I was like, hey, well, let's go have a day where we could go and do a bunch of fun stuff for us. The reason I'm able to do that in the middle of the week on a Tuesday, Dale, is because when I started this, I didn't go to sleep until I got to my goal, period. That means if I set a goal to say, okay, I'm going to go create these 7 videos today and do the SEO and the whatever, because in the beginning, that's how I started doing this, then that meant some days I was on my computer and my wife would come home from work because she actually was working and supporting the Burt Bledsoe project, right? So she would come home from work and I would be in the basement on my computer working. And then she would come down and she would put a bowl of food or soup or plate of food for me. And sometimes I would eat it. Most of the time I wouldn't even recognize that it was there. Like I'll be like, oh, thanks, babe. I'm going to get to that. And then 2 hours later, I would look and see this wonderful meal that she had made for me that was like freaking ice cold, right? Yep. And then I would get up and I would realize that she had talked to me. It's like, oh, my wife is home. There's food here. And then I would go out of my office and I would look upstairs. I remember doing this days, weeks of doing this. And I would look upstairs from the basement and all of the lights would be off. And I would go quiet and I would go upstairs and Jessica would be laying in bed and I would give her a kiss and I would tell her I love her, thank you. And she'd be like, and roll over, right? Because she's sleeping. And then check this out. And then I would crawl back downstairs and go back on the computer. And guess what would happen?
Get leads.
Jessica would wake up and she would get ready for work and she would come downstairs and she'd say, are you still working on the computer? Are you still on the computer? And I'm like, yeah, babe, I made 66 cents last night. Right? And that's real. And I hustled until I got it done. And I did that for months. Literally months. People are like, really? Yeah, really. That's how I really, because what happened was this. I hustled for a while on the first time and I got some results and I got some good results and I walked around like this. What's up, everybody? Check me out. Woo! I just got results. And while that happened for the 3 or 4 rounds, like I was hot stuff, right? All the momentum I had built to that point,
oops,
whoops, got a little too big for my britches, got a little too excited, stopped working, stopped doing the things that got me to where I was. And guess what? All of that momentum stopped. And I was like, oh my gosh, I got to do it again. And so I had to crank it up again and start pushing the snowball again. And then I just realized that you got to hustle. You got to hustle and you got to work and you got to keep on working and keep on serving and keep on doing the actions that are required to get to your goals. You have to keep on doing that even when other people are sleeping. When Clive Jeffrey, this is how I thought about it. And this isn't a dig on Clive. I'm just using because I saw Clive over there. When Clive Jeffrey's on his boat, I'm going to be working. When Craig Kassler takes a nap this afternoon, I'm going to be working. When Janice decides to take a lunch break and then have dinner and a margarita and she's not working past 6 tonight, I'm going to keep on working. When Kenny Bill decides that he's going to take the day off to go to the Super Bowl champion Bronco parade in Denver, I'm going to be working. When Leanne goes to the barbecue place down in Texas and goes line dancing for the night because she lives in Texas, I'm going to be working. That was the attitude I had. And I didn't stop working. I didn't stop working that next time. I never really stopped. I just never stopped. I just took different little breaks. I learned to just press for huge amounts of time, and then I could take the day off on a Tuesday. Why? The reason is this, because when I was where you were at, Dale,
yes,
I was, in my mind, I thought I was screwed. I was like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? I'm fucked. That's what I thought. I was fucked. I was like, I am screwed. I'm living in the basement. I quit my job. My wife, I'm on the computer like 16 hours a day. I'm getting shit. I'm getting 66 cents. What the hell? How is this? But check this out. It was time and repetition, time and repetition. By making all those videos, by doing it over and over again, I learned so much that when people came to me, I was able to go, hey, listen, I know that. I already figured that out. Let me show you the answer.
Okay.
Right? If you make a video every single day for 2 years, you get good at it. You figure tricks out. If you write an email every day, if you talk to people every single day, you get good at those skill sets. You can then go teach those skill sets to other people. You can share what you've learned with other people. That's where the value comes in. In the beginning, you're doing a lot of work for a little bit of pay. Okay? But what happens is all of this work pays off. Think about it like the guy that goes to college for 8 years to be a doctor, or 12 years. For the first 12 years, that sucks. Like all you're doing is going to school and work, school, sick people, helping them, boom, boom, boom. And the debt is just stacking. Boom, 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 boom. Because it's not cheap to go to medical school, right? It's not cheap to live in New York City where your residency is, at the hospital that you got to work at like 90 hours a week. You still got to have a place to live. And check this out. Even though it's a rat hole, dirt hole apartment in some crappy building in New York, it still costs you $2,000 a month that you got outgoing on top of all your debt. And oh yeah, by the way, you're just doing a little residency. You're barely scraping by. They're not even barely paying you because they got to pay all the surgeons and shit, right? So for 12 years, you're just barely scraping by to finally get your deal to be like full in. Like now you're a doctor. Like now you're the guy, right? And then you got to start paying all that debt down. And it's not until that debt's down till now you're making good, right? So think about it like that. In the beginning, you're going to do a lot of work. You're going to help a lot of people. And then some of those people, you're going to help them for free or for nothing or for pennies on the dollar. Pennies, right? For what you should get getting paid. But on the flip side of that, if you do that for long enough, and when you do that consistently enough, in the middle of a Tuesday, you will have woken up and you will have looked at your emails on your phone and you will have generated enough money and profit for the day that you will be done. Like, quote unquote, like you went to work for the day, right?
Yeah.
So you would be able to have the ability to say, hey, babe, do you want to do something today? Like have some time for us? You want to do something fun? Why? Well, because I did a bunch of stuff yesterday and I feel like taking some time off today. Let's have some time for us. That wasn't always possible. And it was made possible because we did goal setting, because we sat down and said, hey, these are the goals. These are the exact things that we want to achieve. What's the list of actions that's required to attain those goals? Now let's do those actions. That's it. It's so simple that we make it way more complicated. Well, I'm gonna have to do this and that, and I'm gonna think about this and do that. No, everything in life, unless you're about to do some stuff, unless you're about to take on a challenge that has not been done before, then unless that's the case, there's an entire roadmap, there's an entire set of steps that you could follow. If someone else has already done it and had success, you could do it. That's real,
yeah.
Right? The only way we wouldn't know for sure that you could do it is if no one else had done it. If Clive comes tomorrow to Free Daily Coaching and he goes, hey bro, we're doing the first manned mission to Mars, I'm like, I don't know about that, Clive. The reason I don't know is because it hasn't been, I'm not saying he can't do it in any way. I'm saying I don't know about that because I haven't seen it been done before. But if Clive comes to me and goes, hey bro, we're going to the moon, dude. I'm like, all right, bro, it's totally possible. We've totally done it before. How do we redo this? What's the list of required actions that needs to happen for us to do that? It's just that simple. Now, that list of required actions is going to be a long list because to get from the Earth's surface to the moon's surface without expiring is a challenging process, right? But however, it's been done before, so we can find out all the things that are required to do. The information exists to be able to do it. It is possible, right? We all agree on that. So that's not a point of contention. So if that's true, if we could go as so bold right now, Dale, you were acknowledging, yes, that's true. I'm sure everyone at home was, right? Everyone that's watching this was saying, yeah, we could do it. So if that's true, if we could be as bold to say that we could go from here to the moon, do you think we could generate a few leads? Yeah. Do you think we could sell a couple products and services? Absolutely. Why? Because there's hundreds, nay, thousands of people that are doing it right now. So you could follow a proven formula to do it. The question is, would you be willing to set the goal, clear and determined, and would you be willing to create the list of required actions, and then would you be willing to take each and every single one of those required actions? Because let's be perfectly clear. This morning, I showed you a list of required actions, and at the bottom of that list, one of them was circled. It was the last of the actions that I had not completed yet. If I don't ever go and buy the other Energizer, the project never got completed because both of the fences are not electrified. They're both set up to be electrified, but only one is electrified right now because only one has the Energizer plugged into it. So for me to continue to move forward, I have to close the loop every step. So check this out. By the end of the week, by the end of this lesson, I'll have another energizer so I can show you, hey, I finished my end. Not because I need to prove it to you, because I want to show you that this is how it's done. Right? Now, this is the deal. It's going to cost me $75 or so to buy the energizer, right? Anywhere from like 40 to like 150, right? There's like a range of energizers that I can purchase. So there's an obstacle, right? There's a financial barrier, right? So I have to make a decision on whether or not I'm willing to cross that barrier. And then how am I going to cross that barrier? Am I just going to take the money out of my pocket, right, and buy the charger, or am I going to try to earn the money for the charger?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right? How could I fund that? Well, I also want cameras, right? So what if I figure out what the camera system costs me, add that into what the electric charger is going to cost me, right? So let's say the charger costs me $100 and the camera is going to cost me $300. So then I got $400, okay? $400. That's my goal to right? That would be my target. I got a $400 target now, let's say. All right, now what if I want to sell Goat Cam? Live subscriptions, Goat Cam, you can get it. It's going to be $10 a month to get live Goat Cam, right? Cheap, super cheap. You can get live Goat Cam for $10 a month, or as my introductory offer. Okay? As my introductory offer, for those that want to get Goat Cam, I'm going to give you lifetime access, the entire deal, lifetime access for $40. Right? Then all I got to do, Dale, is get 10 people for lifetime access. Now I can go get the camera equipment and the other energizer, and I didn't even have to pay for it. I funded it, right? I had someone else fund the project. Does that make sense?
It does. It really does.
We totally took an idea and we just extrapolated all the way out. Now, I'm not sure that this is the exact model I'm going to do yet. Right. So this would be another goal to sit down and say, okay, I want to do this. Right. If I don't want to take the cash out of my pocket to buy the Energizer, right, then I should bundle it in with the cameras, because we talked about doing the camera idea and we've seen we now found the actual camera set that we want. Right. Mm-hmm. So now we could put this into play. Yeah. So imagine if you could start putting things into play, because this is what happens over time. Imagine, because I didn't used to be able to do this, right? Before I had a list, before people were actually following me, before we had free daily coaching, before I had an audience, this wasn't possible. Over time, once you've built the audience, this is what becomes possible. So imagine if you have an idea, but before you even do the idea, you're funding it.
Yep.
So we'll decide, Jessica and I will have to have a talk on the Energizer and find out. And she's been listening, so she'll decide if she wants to do this and how that will all work. And we'll have a conversation, and then we'll put together something. And then you guys will, obviously, free daily coaching, you guys will get first access to that. The lifetime access people, you won't have to do that. You'll get, access to there's a few people on here that are lifetime access members. You guys will get access to the cams, but everyone else, that's a killer deal, right? So, and look at how easy that is to do. And each of you could do this in some area of your business, right? You just have to look at what you have to offer that people are willing to pay for. So goal setting day 2, we've gone long on both of these days because this is how important it is to really focus in on what you're going to do to be able to go and accomplish some goals, right? And even the smallest thing on a regular basis can start to build massive, massive results. Think about the free daily coaching call and how long we've been doing it now. There's something like 700 plus videos now on YouTube. Probably 700 of them are probably just free daily coaching. And if we go back even farther, we can probably say that there's probably like at least like 100 or more recorded calls at one point that we had that we used just for the call. So from one little tiny thing that we started doing on a daily basis has been able to turn into something very big. And each of you could do that too. So Dale, I want you to go and hit your number today, 14. 14 is your number. And I want, this is what I would really like to see. I'd like to see throughout the day, maybe some people in free daily coaching, go give a shout out to Dale, give her some encouragement, right? Go send her a message, put it in the group, send her a private message and say, hey, go hit your number. Imagine what that does to not only for Dale, but what does that do for you and for your business to go out and support someone else and say, hey, I hope that you hit your goal today. And I'm supporting you and encouraging you to go out and hit your goal, and don't stop until you do that.
Okay.
Right? So that's what I'm encouraging you to do, Dale. And then when you hit your goal, you go make an announcement in the group. Hey, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I made my goal. Hey, what if it's 2 o'clock this afternoon, right? Hey, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I made my goal because I've been 555ing all day, right? So go out and get those leads and do it intentionally and make some noise about it and let us know that you're doing that so that we can be here to support you. And for all of you that are viewing here on YouTube, remember that you can come over to www.freedailycoaching.com. You can register for the webinars. You can participate. You can also join our group over in Facebook, freedailycoaching.com group. I want to thank each of you for being here. Special thanks to Dale for jumping out, joining us this week and really exposing herself and saying, hey, this is a goal that I have. And she's going for it, right? She's going to go for it. And whether she attains her goal or whether she comes up a little bit short of her goal, she's now been shown the actions to take. She's been given the exact directions. Now it's on Dale. And guess what? Yesterday, she told us what she did. Now today, she's going to go out and take some actions. And hopefully tomorrow, she'll show up again with us. We'll check in again tomorrow and we'll see where she's at. We'll give her that encouragement that everyone really wants and needs on a regular basis. And also we'll provide some guidance and say, okay, well, where did you fall short? Or where did you surpass your goal? And how can we congratulate you? And how can we ramp that up, right? So tomorrow, again, we're going to touch base again. We're going to talk more about goal setting. We'll touch base with Dale and we'll see what Dale did, what I did, and what you've all done to create some more personal growth by attaining your goals. We'll see you guys the next time.
Thanks, Bert.
Bye, Dale. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, baby. They're pretty good, baby, I gotta say. I tell you, kid.